guys, here's what we're going to be working on today. This is one of them Magic Pack 51 HWs. We're going to be changing the gas valve in here. And believe me, it's a major pain in the butt. But we're going to do it, man. We can handle it. Alright, boys. Here's the tools you're going to need to remove this gas valve. A couple pipe wrenches, adjustable wrench drill with a 1/4 inch driver, and tape to mark any wiring you don't know where the wire is. I mean, you can use a little nut driver, 1/4 inch nut driver if you want, but I just use the drill. You want to shut the power off first, which I did already. I won't leave that for a little while. Okay, here's the gas valve right here. And this thing has a flaw in it. I've changed so many of these. This furnace is only 3 years old. There's a flaw in this board right here. And they just don't last that long. The new ones don't have that board set up like this. This one here, this board jiggles, okay, and just vibration from the inducer motor and stuff like that will cause it to lose contact in there, and it'll cause the gas valve to shut off. So sometimes when this first starts happening, somebody calls up and says they don't have no heat, you just turn the furnace back on and you can just come up and jiggle this and get it in a certain spot, and it'll work for a while, you know, a few days, a week, or whatever. But then after that, it'll start screwing up again. You can come and jiggle it again, get it going for another couple days. But eventually, you're going to be changing this. So, you might as well just do it and get it over with. Now, the hardest part about doing this is this pipe right here. This is put in from the factory. It comes in from here to here, and then you add your stuff on top of that. The problem with this pipe is, first of all, they have it in there way too tight from the factory, okay? I'm sure some guy's doing it on a bench, and he's just torquing that thing down to where he's almost got, excuse me, got it buried in the metal. The second bad part about it is that it's glazed pipe. Like, this is not glazed. This actually cuts pretty easy. If I was to get a Sawzall out and start hacking at this, I could cut through this pipe in a couple of minutes. But glazed pipe is always harder to cut through. So if I have to get a Sawzall in here and cut this pipe out, it's going to take me 15 minutes. Because the saws, it's hard for them to get a bite on this glazed pipe. It's just like if you have that cast iron plumbing pipe that's glazed, you have to get one of those grinder wheels on there and cut that off. I've done that many times also, but yeah, that's what you have to do. So as long as this pipe comes out, this job is not that much of a pain in the ass. But if this pipe doesn't come out, if I can't get this pipe out of here, this job becomes a real big nightmare. Okay, first thing we want to do is shut the gas off, right, Neil? Okay. We shut the power off at the breaker because this one doesn't have a quick disconnect on it, so this ductwork is just falling apart. So we want to shut the gas off first. Then we'll pop this collar off of here. Now, any new furnaces I put in, I changed this. I put a new gas line in. This one I didn't when I put it in a few years ago. I don't think I had a new gas line with me, but if this gives you any pain of getting this collar off right here, all you do is you just spray some WD-40 down in here, and then you just hit it like that a few times, after you spray it, and it'll come off. So we're going to try it without spraying it to see if I can just get it off. Sometimes you can just jerk on them and they'll pop right off of there. Like that. That one wasn't too tight. Okay. Okay, I gotta have some room to get that out of there, so. Yeah, that's a real doozer there. Alright. Now, I'm gonna have to cut that zip tie right there. Just be careful you don't pinch any wires when you're doing that. Okay, so I got the zip tie off of there. Now, here comes the hardest part of the whole job, or the one that makes the job hard or easy, is this pipe. If I can get this pipe out, then it won't be too bad. And you know, you see that there's not really a whole hell of a lot of room to work in here. It's not like oh, God. I think I might have got it broke loose. I might have got lucky. Yeah, I did. You can just take your channel locks and finish the job. And then that way I can reuse the pipe too, so I can just reuse the same setup. Okay, so that's a good deal. We can reuse the pipe. Alright, so now what you have to do is you have to get all the wiring off of the board. Okay, so you have these plugs, these dummy plugs right here. They only go in one way, so you can basically pull them off. I mean, you can't put them back wrong. Okay, I mean, that's just one of those deals. You have no choice but to put it back in the right way. Then there's the spark plug wire there. There's the little ground wire right there. I just use my drill to get down there and get that. Put that up there. Now here's the ignition board. On these newer Magic Packs, the ignition board and the fan control is all on the same board. On the old ones, the ignition control was up here, and the fan control, which is this part here, these wires control the fan motor and the inducer motor, and this controls the other aspects of it, the grounding and the flame sensors and all that. But on the old models, this part of the board is inside here on a little board on top of the condensing unit. So that's how that is. So, and you got this little white wire here. This is the the flame sensor. That's also connected to the burners. Now, what I say to people that haven't done this that often, this is where the blue tape comes in. These are the wires for the fan and the relays. So if you're just not sure what you do, well, what you should do is take a picture of this part right here, because this is the part that's the tricky part. So I would just take a picture of this, but the other way you can do it if you don't have a camera with you is just when you take these wires off right here, you just take these two off here and blue tape them together. Because you know the blue tape, it comes off easy. So then you would just write something on here, top, and then red, because the red wire is the one that went on the top. Okay, so I would just write red, top red, so I would know that that's what the deal was with that. And then the bottom, you can see that, now these wires are basically just jumps. This has a 3-speed fan motor, but only 2 speeds are actually used on it. They give you a backup one, which is actually good in case one of the speeds in the motor goes bad. You can always jump it to the other plug and get, say you get a call in the middle of the night, no, the air conditioner's not working, you get up there and you see the fan's not running, you can always try one of the other speeds on the motor, and it'll come back to life. You know, sometimes you'll get lucky like that. But anyway, so you would just take this off. This blue one and the one below that and the one below that are all jumped. You see that? That's jumped there, and then this one jumps to the next one. So you would take that off there. And just tape that together. And then this black wire is unused. That's the unused part of the board. But that's the other fan speed right there, is this one, the unused one. This would be the one, if one of your speeds went out on here, you would take this one off that's on the unused tab and stick it up on one of these other ones, whatever one you were running now. Say the hot went bad or the cold went bad, you would take this unused one off of here and stick it on one of them other ones corresponding with whatever season you were in. You know, so you could do that. It works, believe me, I've done it, believe me, many times. Those middle of the night calls, you know. So you will get that kind of crap happening. Now, these are the two for the gas valve. The red is on the left, just remember that. And then you can tape them two together also. This won't go too bad today because that pipe came out. If the pipe didn't come out, it would be a whole different story. So, it won't be that bad. I'll suffer through it. Okay. So now, you know we already took the screw out. Now that's the only screw that's holding in the burners. Okay? There's the flame sensor wire back there, and then there's the spark wire right there. Now, you got to make sure when you put this back together that flame sensor which is really close to the wall here, to the wall of the heat exchanger, you got to make sure that flame sensor is not touching anything. Okay, because what'll happen is it'll make the gas stop. It'll make the furnace quit running. Okay, so that flame sensor has to be completely free of touching anything, because I've already made that mistake before. Even though, and that was after I had done this 100 times. You know, you get to doing something so many times, you think you got it all down pat. I didn't even notice it when I pushed it back in there that the flame sensor was touching the burners. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why the damn thing wouldn't work. You know, it would come on and keep cutting out. So the rest of this stuff for the limit switch, which is up here, that's the high heat limit switch. And what that does is if the flames come on and the blower does not come on and that reaches a certain temperature, it shuts the furnace down. And this is the pressure switch right here. And what that does is that pulls a vacuum on the inducer motor right there. So if the inducer motor isn't running and it's not pulling enough of a vacuum on this pressure switch, the furnace won't start. Okay, that's a safety factor, because the inducer motor is what's pulling the gases out. Its job, this pressure switch is going to prevent the furnace from igniting. Now, I've seen people jump that out, okay, which is very dangerous. You shouldn't do that. But on the old Magic Packs, not this new model, but on the old ones, you could actually do that, to jump. If you didn't have one of these, you could actually jump this out. If you knew that the inducer motor was really running, but the pressure switch was bad and you didn't have one, you could jump that out. You could just run a wire between these two, and it would work. But, you know, you would need to go get a new pressure switch as soon as possible. You're not supposed to let those things run like that, because basically you could kill somebody. So you don't want to be going there. So, all right, let's get to pulling out the burner, which is always a little fun. You got to just jumble these wires around a little bit. There it is. Believe me, this is one of the easiest ones I ever did. Trust me. This is usually way more of a pain in the ass than this. Believe me when I'm telling you. Alright guys, I'm going to go change the gas valve downstairs in the shop, and then I'll bring this back up and we'll put it back in, see if it works.